Well, guys, I don't know about you, but a new motto that I want to have in life is worst comes to worst, when you have a bunch of just meh looking mainstream movies coming out, seek out indie movies. Just go to your indie theater and just try to find some good indie film to watch. Just do it. Okay, give them money, please. Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? What's going on? It is Autobot Mike 18 here, back with another movie review. Guys, I had a very interesting night tonight. I had a very fun night. I went to one of my local Bowtie cinemas, and I did a double feature. I saw two movies, two independent films that were playing in very limited release, and I've wanted to see them. Both of them were on my radar, and I watched both of them. And I usually never do double features. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I want to do tonight, and I did, and I have fun, and I am going to review them for you guys. I'm probably going to post my review for Indignation first with Logan Lerman. I watched that second. I watched that in a completely empty theater. Nobody was there at night at 9:15. But before that movie, I watched the film that I am going to be reviewing in this video, guys. And that is Hell or High Water. That is a cool poster. Look at that. Look at that. Look at Jeff Bridges. Look at that. It's awesome. So yeah, guys, I saw Hell or High Water, and I don't know if a lot of you guys had actually heard of this movie, or if it flew under your radars as well. I actually did hear this before I went into the movie. I just didn't go into it blind. I think I saw the trailer probably either on YouTube before a video I was watching, or on TV. I don't know, but either way, I saw the trailer and it hooked me. It looked very interesting. It was like a mixture of like a modern Western bank crime thriller, bank robbery movie, and I was pretty intrigued. So I was like, I gotta check this out. I gotta see what it's all about. And it opened last week, very limited, and I didn't think it was gonna come to any other theaters other than the major theaters in New York City, which I don't go to because they're further away from me where I live. But I do have a few independent theaters within my remote area, within like an hour away from me. And one of them got Hell or High Water, and I immediately got excited, and I was like, that's the movie I'm going to go see. I was originally just planning to see Indignation, but as soon as I saw Hell or High Water, boom, buy me a ticket. I'm ready. So guys, let's get into the plot synopsis behind Hell or High Water, because I want a lot of you guys to know about this movie, and I want you guys to see it. Go see it, okay? So guys, Hell or High Water is essentially, we focus on a group of bank robbers, a group of brothers who are bank robbers, as a matter of fact. They are both played by Chris Pine and Ben Foster. They rob a couple of banks, a chain of banks, specifically in, I believe, the West Texas area. And Chris Pine's character has a very specific reason for robbing these banks. Ben Foster, he's kind of just a crazy guy who wants to help his brother and is along for the ride. But I'm not going to get specifically into why they're robbing these banks. I'm just going to tell you that. They're robbing banks, and the authority is on their hot on their heels, because we have a pair of Texas Rangers, one of them played by Jeff Bridges. Oh yes, the dude from The Big Lebowski. That's just your opinion, man. I'm sorry, guys. I tried to do Jeff Bridges from The Big Lebowski. It didn't work. I apologize. But yes, the dude from The Big Lebowski. I just watched that movie the other night. That's why I made that reference. He's hot on the heels of Chris Pine and Ben Foster, and he wants to find out why they're robbing banks and stop them. So guys, yes, that is the premise behind Hell or High Water. I know exactly what a lot of you are going to say to me upon just hearing that premise. Mike, how many bank robbing movies have we had? We've had The Town, we've had Heat, we've had Point Break. One of the only ones I've seen is The Town. We just had, this wasn't a bank robbing movie, but you could put it in that category of like a crime thriller. Money Monster with George Clooney. You know, this is definitely a familiar genre, the crime thriller, crime drama genre, and so for that reason, although the movie was getting really great reviews and the trailers looked kick-ass, I was looking forward to the movie, but I was still skeptical because I was like, is this going to be just, you know, what I've seen before done in other movies? Is it just going to be the same thing? I don't know. And I don't know. Just coming out of Hell or High Water, I really enjoyed this movie, guys. I had a blast with this movie. It actually might be one of my favorite movies of the year. Shut up, bus. I was so happy and in the mood, and I yelled at the bus to shut up, or the garbage truck that just drove by, and I yelled at it happily. I don't know. Guys, Hell or High Water is a really riveting and compelling crime drama with amazing performances, a really extraordinary screenplay by Taylor Sheridan, and excellent cinematography. This movie is gorgeously shot, for sure. Looks amazing, without a doubt. Guys, Hell or High Water is directed by David McKenzie, and it is written by Taylor Sheridan. Taylor Sheridan... Someone's yelling, guys. I'm sorry about that. Taylor Sheridan is the guy who wrote Sicario. Sicario just came out last year. Taylor Sheridan wrote Sicario last year. I'm sorry about that, guys. Obviously, that is not planned. That's one other thing I wanted to mention. Sorry for the fact I'm shooting this video in my car, but it's midnight. I did the double feature, and I'm working this weekend, and I'm doing something with my family this weekend, so I just want to shoot the reviews now and get them over with and get them up to you guys at some point this weekend when I can upload them. But yes, so it's from the writer of Sicario, so I was hooked because of that reason. And to me, guys, Hell or High Water is like a mix of No Country for Old Men and Bonnie and Clyde. And it works pretty well. I know that's like a weird combination, but it is. For that fact, of it being like No Country for Old Men, it's sort of like a Western. We focus on, like, you know, southern states, specifically Texas in this movie. We have an aging sheriff character, or a character who's, you know, with the authority. Jeff Bridges in this movie, Tommy Lee Jones in No Country for Old Men. And then Bonnie and Clyde, you get the whole Bonnie and Clyde aspect, because I think, from what I saw Bonnie and Clyde earlier this year, the original, and I think Clyde was robbing banks in these places with his brother, I think, was one of his accomplices, if I don't remember. And these two guys are brothers, so there's that whole aspect of the movie. So it kind of feels like a mixture between the two, and it's really damn entertaining and engaging in the process. Guys, this movie does a really excellent job of setting up the characters. I loved the characters in this movie. I'll talk about character/performances because the screenplay is fantastic. The dialogue between the characters is absolutely riveting and engaging to a T. And the moments that I think required hefty suspense and thrills in the bank robbing sequences, all of that was there, and I felt all of that, and I felt really, like, the tension was there. It was pulsating. I was definitely just, like, rubbing my hand through my hair. I was like, oh my god, how are they gonna get out of this now? Holy shit, what are they doing? This is nuts. Or what is gonna happen now? Like, I was always asking that question throughout the movie in those sequences, so they worked perfectly for that. But getting into the characters and the performances, Chris Pine and Ben Foster are amazing in this movie. Ben Foster is incredible. I loved that character. He's just that typical, like, wild card. He's the wild card in this relationship for sure. He's the type of guy who literally, you're having dinner at a diner with you and your brother, and he just goes across the street and he's going to rob a bank without even telling you that he's going to do it. Instead, he's going to lie and tell you he's going to go take a crap, and then there you go. He's going to go rob a bank. So I loved him. I love how his character was always bent on doing stuff out of, like, impulse. He was like the wild guy of the duo, and I think he was really distinct in that matter, and he was very fascinating to watch on screen for sure. Ben Foster was great, and Chris Pine I also really loved, because I think there's a lot of layers to his character, and the film is trying to say a lot of really interesting things about not only age and I guess progression in society in regards to wealth, but it says a lot about poverty. It says a lot about that, and that ties in specifically to Chris Pine's character. And I love just his character motivations, his character arc in general, his conflict at hand, the reasons for why he's doing what he's doing. I think were brilliantly laid out, and I totally bought into them. And I think he just played a very reserved, very reserved. He played an excellent reserved character who is thinking of his goal or the people he's doing this for. And I really loved it. I thought it was just really, really great, strong, nuanced writing for sure. And it felt different. It felt fresh. You know what I mean? Like it didn't feel like a carbon copy of other bank robbery movies we've had. And then Jeff Bridges, on the other hand, is this very charismatic and very outgoing sheriff who's actually very funny and humorous, and he's always making wise remarks and everything. And I thought that was really distinct as well for his character. It set him apart from that character that I've seen done before in the Coens' No Country for Old Men with Tommy Lee Jones. I feel Tommy Lee Jones was great in that movie, don't get me wrong, but he didn't have that sort of humorous, like, light-hearted side to him that Jeff Bridges did in this movie, and that's why I thought he was great. The dude was the dude, and he was awesome in this movie. And I also liked the relationship that he has with his partner, played by Gil Birmingham. I believe that's how you say his name. And I love their back and forth and how they're making jokes about each other. Like Jeff Bridges is making jokes about this guy's heritage. There's a lot of like stereotypical jokes like that, but it works for this sort of like relationship that these two partners of these Texas Rangers have. And I thought that was great. I love how Gil Birmingham's character refers to the fact that Jeff Bridges is old as hell. Like, I thought it was great. It says a lot of interesting things about age and race, and I thought that was really cool and really smart how they interwove that in the screenplay. And again, in a very serious movie with very serious stakes and, things always being compelling, with the goal of these characters to rob these banks for the reason that they have, I think that despite all of that and the stakes being as high as they are, the fact that the screenplay was also kind of witty and had very heartfelt sort of, lighthearted dialogue between characters amidst all of the chaos and all of the serious tone that the film takes up, I thought was really, really fascinating. So definitely praise to Taylor Sheridan. Amazing screenplay. And David McKenzie, I think, did a flawless job directing this movie, guys. I loved the cinematography in this movie. It was gorgeous, just from a shot composition perspective and just how certain shots were framed. I loved it. I love the choices that the filmmaker makes. There's a lot of very gorgeous long takes in this movie, and very intricate camera work and panning, and very smooth panning and dollying into places to reveal information. It's really well shot. It's gorgeous. It's lit very well. It's lit very well. It is the shots are very incredibly well composed. There's a lot of shots that, again, without even needing dialogue, the shots will tell the story of where characters stand. There's a shot early on in the movie I really love with Ben Foster and Chris Pine. They're separated from each other, and there's so much empty space in the middle. It just shows so much about where their characters are. Yet they have maybe the same intentions of why they're robbing these banks, but it just shows how different people, how different they are as characters. And I loved it. I just love shots that do that. The opening shot of this movie alone, I thought, was just flat out gorgeous, and an excellent high stakes way to start off a thriller like this, a crime drama thriller like this movie. So that was great. I thought the score was fantastic. I felt that they captured the tone and style of like a modern Western set crime drama like this movie. That this movie set in. Like, I love like the southern part of Texas that they filmed in, I thought that all worked very well for the most part. Production design and everything was really good. Again, I keep coming. I almost said shots again, but the shots just blew me away. Some of the best cinematography I've seen all year by far so far. And I think the gunfight sequences and all the bank robbing scenes are very well crafted, and there's not too much of them. There's not like an over excessive amount or anything. And the characters, I actually, you know, formed genuine connections with these characters, and I bought their reasonings behind everything. I thought that was all very well laid out on the table in the screenplay with the dialogue and everything. The score was great. The pacing is really, really good. It's all around just a very entertaining and very high stakes crime drama that could have been formulaic, and while it might have like the basic formula of we have to rob a bank, we have a reason why we're robbing banks, the heat is on us, we got to focus on them as well. It has that basic setup, but it could have been so much more generic and formulaic than it actually was, and that's why I loved the movie as much as I did, because it didn't do certain conventional things that I thought it would do. It had really genuinely suspenseful, very incredibly well-crafted sequences that I absolutely loved watching, because all the characters were good. They're good characters. They were written very well. Now, I know it seems like I've been praising this movie. It is one of my favorites of the year for sure so far. I'm totally recommending it to you guys. I do have but two minor little things with the film, minor little beefs. One of them was something that I don't know, most people are not going to pick it up on, but I picked it up on because of just, I'm always like 100% just like, if something feels different with the sound or something of anything, I'm just gonna point it out, or like, okay, that feels different. There were a few lines that I think were ADR'd in post and added in mostly in scenes between Chris Pine and Ben Foster, that were where the lines said like off screen or something. And it just, maybe they added those lines in, they weren't in the original script, to make the relationship stick more between the characters, and that's fine. But I felt like the audio itself, I was just like, okay, like I could tell that totally was ADR. That it didn't sound like organic and naturally flowing within the scene. If that makes any sense, I don't know. That's like a very specific gripe I had with the film. And my other minor complaint concerning the story, everything else was fantastic with the screenplay and the story as a whole, but my other minor gripe was the beginning and how we focused on Jeff Bridges and Gil Birmingham in the beginning of the film. I felt that they didn't have a lot to do, and they make a decision to try to catch these bank robbers, and I didn't feel it was that, like, I didn't agree with it. I was like, okay, why are they doing that when they could be, I don't know, going around to get more evidence somehow? I felt that I just didn't buy into their actions. And then, like, 2 scenes later, they immediately changed gears and they're like, okay, you know what, let's do this instead. Maybe this will work instead. So that was the only thing. I was like, okay, I would have given them something different to do maybe in the first act, or their whole dynamic wasn't as fascinating as the dynamic of Chris Pine and Ben Foster in the first act. That said, I really enjoyed Hell or High Water, and I highly recommend it to you guys. If it comes to a theater near you, it's one of the best movies this summer, in a summer that definitely has been very lackluster with very exciting and suspenseful movies. This movie delivers. It's a big surprise. It's really fun. It's entertaining. It's got a great heart to it. It's got some great humor within it, surprisingly, and it's really, really thrilling and suspenseful. The third act alone in this movie, I was on the edge of my seat throughout the entire thing. Guys, for that reason, I am going to give Hell or High Water a solid grade of a 9.5 out of 10, or an A. I was going to go a little bit lower. I'm going that high. I really enjoy this movie, guys. It's one of my favorites of the year for sure. Go see this movie if it comes to a theater near you. I implore you guys to do it. It's really good and it's worth your money. So guys, if you have seen Hell or High Water, let me know what you thought of it down below. What you think of the cast? What did you think of the movie as a whole? Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Check out my Indignation review also on my channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.